सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रीराम जय जय राम 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 जय जय राम जय सीताराम। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। In life, what is it that we are looking for? We are looking for, in everything that we do, in every situation we experience, we all want happiness. But whenever we contact this world outside, either the happiness doesn't last very long, or it leads us to sorrow. And we don't understand why that is so. But yet, from morning till evening, we are constantly running out into this world, trying to gain this happiness. It's like a rat race. An analogy that I think of is of a rat sitting in a rat wheel. The moment he wakes up, he starts running in that wheel. And vigorously, with all might and energy, he runs. And at the end of the day, he's tired and he rests there. But if he looks at his life, he started where he finished. And where he finished, he started. He has not achieved anything great. In our life, we seem to achieve great things, but behind everything that we want to gain, what is that fundamental thing we're looking for? We want happiness, and we want that happiness to be with us. And any kind of sorrow that comes into our life, we want to get rid of. In scriptures, we say that one aims to get realized. One wants to get liberated. But what is this liberation that the common person wants in life? Is to become free from one's own sorrows. And these sorrows creates pain for us, creates suffering for us. So how do we become free from these sorrows? And a person who can tell us how to become free from sorrows must be one who has become free from sorrows. But at the same time, we look towards that person who has credibility in that. Not only should he be free from sorrows, but he or she must have experienced that sorrow. Because otherwise, how will they relate to us? So therefore, that person must have gone through sorrows and must have overcome sorrows and become free from it. So therefore, the text we are going to be studying, called Sankat Mochan, which is originally known as Hanuman Ashtakam. And this Hanuman Ashtakam was composed by the great saint Tulsidas ji. Now, is he the credible person to teach us how to remove sorrows? Has he experienced sorrows? Because if he has experienced the sorrows, and when he shows it, he is credible. At the same time, he's lived that knowledge. So therefore, we now look into the composer himself and to see whether he is credible or not. Now, Tulsidas ji was born near Allahabad and a place called Bandar. And there he was born to Atma Ram Dubey, his father, and Hulsi, his mother. And a great auspicious day if we understood Tulsidas ji. But when the child was born, and the child was born after 12 months, not 9 months like a normal child, but after 12 months. And when he was born with all 32 teeth in his mouth. Now, we were born with 32 teeth. Now, for a normal common person, when they see a child with 32 teeth, he's suddenly seen as something abnormal, a freak. So they got worried. Why is my child got 32 teeth? And the child looked like he was 5 years old. That's how big he was also. Healthy and strong like a 5-year-old. So immediately the father, Atmaram, inquired from the astrologers. And the astrologers said that this child has not been born in an auspicious time, and according to his astrological charts, he will become the doom of his family, and somebody in the family will die. Right? Very grim astrological charts. So Atma Ram, in his anxiety of his fellow beings, his own family members dying, he forced his wife, Tulsi, to give up, to abandon this young boy. And it is also said that when this young baby was born, he was not like any other ordinary baby who would cry. But the moment he was born, he chanted Ram, and he opened his eyes. And of course, in the child's way, of course, not so loudly like I am doing, but with the name of the Lord. And it is said that the universe around him echoed, Ram bol, Ram bol. The one who spoke said the name of the Lord, Ram. So he was named Rambola. But Father, seeing all these, and the astrologer forces his wife, Tulsi, to give up, to abandon Tulsidas ji. 4 days old baby was abandoned. Now, which child? With no mother and no father, abandoned. But Tulsi, the mother, with such a heavy heart, she gave him away. So what did she do? She gave the child to her maidservant. Her name was Chunia. I said, Chunia, you please take my child, and gave her money and take him far away. So Chunia took him and brought him up with very poor. And when Rambola was 5 years old, Chunia also died. Now the surrounding people, will they keep quiet? They having heard about Rambola's astrological charts, because people come to know you can't hide. So therefore they started saying, see, according to his astrological charts, he will destroy his family. That Tulsi, apparently after 10 days after birth of Rambola, she, in separation of her son, she died. Now Chunia, who has brought him up as his own mother, the nanny, she also dies when he is 5 years old. And what did the society say? See, he has eaten up his family members. What an inauspicious child. And whenever he went to beg for food, now he's an orphan. Instead of giving him food and bringing him up, they used to curse him. Go away from here, you're bad omens, bad, terrible person. And the only thing that boy had from childhood, he's been saying Ram, Ram. So that Lord's name only he had. And he went around asking, begging for people. And seeing the plight of this little boy, it is said, Parameshwari, Parvati Mata, heavy-hearted, she leaves Kailash and comes down every day to feed this child. So mother herself became. So therefore never should we ever feel in our life that we are alone. Mother and father, Shivji and mother Parvati, is ever with us. We are never alone. The ultimate father and mother are with us. She comes and feeds him. And this weak little child started becoming stronger and stronger. But did the public leave them alone? Said, how is this boy becoming stronger and energetic? There must be something. We better go and find out. So one day, one of the ladies, she hid behind the tree that Rambola was getting fed. And he saw that there was this Brahmin lady, glowing. She would come and keep him on her lap and feed him. Not knowing that was Mother Parvati. She's seeing that they are watching. Mother Parvati goes back to Kailash. Again Rambola, an orphan again. But grace and glory of Bhagavan is that Bhagavan approaches Sri Narahari, Baba, a great saint of that time, to go and pick up this child and give him the knowledge and support him. So Sri Narahari Baba comes and takes Rambola back to his ashram. And later on, he takes him to Ayodhya and initiates him into, gives him Diksha into Gayatri Mantra. Gives him the Japa Mantra of Sri Ram. And gives him Japamala. And gives him a new name. And hence he was called Tulsidas. And that Rambola, who now is known as Tulsidas, grew up under the Guru Sri Narahari. And Narahari Baba taught him the stories of Rama. The teachings of Ramayana was given by Narahari Baba to Tulsidas. But Tulsidas, he didn't understand the first time he heard. But over a period of time, he came to understand, and he kept on singing the glories of Sri Ram. He went from place to place singing the glories of Bhagavan, Sri Ram, and started teaching this katha, etc. But in the heart of Tulsidas ji, that sense of incompleteness was there. And he went to Varanasi. He learnt all the Vedas, all the Vedangas, learned scriptures, and became a master of knowledge. And at a ripe age, probably age of 20, 21, he got married to Ratnavalli. That love that he yearned for from his mother, which he did not have, from his nanny, which he lost. That for him, Ratnavalli was everything. And it is said that Tulsidas ji was so identified to Ratnavalli that if Ratnavalli smiled, he would smile. When Ratnavalli cried, he cried. When Ratnavalli ate, he ate. That's how much love he had for her. So much attachment to her. It is said one day Tulsidas ji goes to the temple to worship Bhagavan Rama, and Ratnavalli had heard some news and she had to go to her father's house without telling Tulsidas. When Tulsidas ji came home that evening, he did not see Ratnavalli. So he inquired, and the next door neighbor had said that Ratnavalli has gone to her father's place, some emergency. So late at night, Tulsidas ji, who is not, after marriage, has not been separated from her, and his attachment was so strong, his separation anxiety was so much. Look at that sorrow he had. He goes in the middle of the night, and there were storms, everything was going on. He kept on walking, and he had to cross this river, and the river was flooding. High waves were going on. He sees a log, thinking it's a log in that dark, but it was actually a dead body. He holds on to it and he crosses that river. through all that danger, single-pointedly thinking about to go and see his beloved Ratnavalli. Finally, he reaches the house of his father-in-law in the middle early mornings. Now, who would go to early mornings to your father-in-law's house? They'll think you was mad or what? Anyway, Tulsidas, she stayed on the upper floor. So he sees a rope hanging. He starts climbing, but it wasn't even a rope, it was a snake. In his delusion, in his confusion, in his anxiety to see his wife, he climbed. And he reaches. And he opens the door and goes in. And Ratnavalli was shocked to see him there. He said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I can't live without you, seeing you even for a moment." And Ratnavalli, she looks at him and says, "You are such a Ram Bhakta. This kind of, even if you had half the identification you have with me for Bhagwan, you would have gained liberation by now." And her words pierced his heart. And at that moment, he leaves her house. Ratnavalli, being a wise woman, understanding the goal of her husband, says such words. And Tulsidas ji takes into the ascetic life, and he continued. He continued to sing and dance with the glories of Sri Rama, and sang the Ramayana everywhere he went. But his heart was still not fulfilled. He had one desire, that he wanted to see the Lord. He's never seen that Lord. He's not experienced the Lord. He's only been singing. And every time he sings, he would feel the joy. But he has not seen his beloved Bhagwan. That sorrow was catching him. And you can see, sorrow, a bit of joy, sorrow, a bit of joy. And now that sorrow was that he wanted to see his Lord. It is said that in the outskirts of Varanasi, Tulsidas ji lived there. And every morning he will go to do his ablutions, take bath, do his prayers, and he will walk back. And each day when he walked back, the remainder of his water, and obviously after offering to the Lord and everything, the water, sanctified water, he would come and he would pour it as he walks on this particular tree. And he would say Ram Ram and he will walk. So after 7 days, as he was walking past and pouring that water, he heard a voice. He said, "Oh Tulsidas ji, thank you so much for freeing me from my hellish position." And Tulsidas ji stopped and he looked. And it was a preta, a ghost who lived there. And due to Tulsidas ji's prayers and worship and that water offering and the chanting of Ram Ram, that ghost had become freed from his ghost body. So the ghost said, "Oh Tulsidas ji, I am so grateful for what you have done for me. Please ask me a boon." And Tulsidas ji said, "I don't want anything else. My only sorrow is that I have not met my Bhagwan Rama. I have not seen him. Can you please help me with this?" And so our ghost said, "Oh Tulsidas ji, I'm really sorry, but I have no power to help you to see the Lord. Because if I had the power to see the Lord, I wouldn't be a pret. So therefore, but I can tell you a secret which can help you to see the Lord. And the secret is that the devotees of Bhagwan have the Lord in their heart. So therefore the devotee has access to Bhagwan. And Bhagwan will do anything for the Bhakta. And there is one Bhakta who comes to your talks. Whenever you do your Ram Katha, this person comes. he comes in the form of a leper, an old leper. And he would come first. But because he is discriminated by others, he would sit in the back in the corner away from everybody. And he'll be the first one to sit there. And then when the talks are over, after everybody leaves, he will slowly leave. And this is none other than Hanumanji. Because Hanumanji goes wherever there is Ram Katha. And Hanumanji, of course, was the greatest devotee of Bhagavan Sri Rama. Those of you who have studied Ramayana will know that. So therefore, this Hanumanji will come. And you ask him. So our Tulsidas, she was very, very excited. Very, very excited. So he goes. And there, because it's his own talks, usually the speaker will go to the talks once everybody has settled. But here, Tulsidas, she was the first one there, sitting and looking who's coming. And there he notices, just like what the ghost had told, that one old man covered in a rug, seems like a leper, comes and sits in the corner. And Tulsidas, as he was talking the Ram Katha, he was observing. And as the talk was finishing, and as soon as the talk finished, and we all know, as soon as the talk finishes, how everybody's out. Who can get out quickly to get their car and escape, and go home before the traffic, etc. So, everybody left. And this leper was slowly going out. And Tulsidas got up and started running. But it seemed like as Tulsidas was running, the leper was walking faster. And finally they were going through, and he has gone out and Tulsidas is following it. And in the woods, in the little forest, Tulsidas jumps and holds on to the feet of the leper and says, "Oh leper! Oh my dear!" He didn't even call him leper. "Oh my man! Oh Hanumanji! Oh Hanumanji!" And the leper said, "I am not Hanuman. What are you talking about?" He played ignorant. But Tulsidas said, "No, but I know you are Hanumanji. Please, please help me." And out of his plea and sincerity, Hanumanji drops his disguise and blesses him. He says, "Oh Tulsidas, what is it that you want?" And Tulsidas, she looks at Bhagavan Hanumanji and says, "Oh Hanumanji, I have this deep sorrow that I am not able to see my Bhagavan in front of me. I sing his glories, I sing glories of how all have met him and how he has blessed so many. Why cannot that Lord bless me?" And seeing that sincere plea of Tulsidas ji, Hanumanji says, "Oh Tulsidas ji, I will put a request into Bhagavan. Don't worry. You will see Bhagavan." And Tulsidas ji was instructed to go to Chitrakoot. You go to Chitrakoot. That is where Bhagavan Rama lives. You go there and be there. And Hanumanji goes. And Hanumanji goes to Bhagavan Rama. And he says to Bhagavan, "Oh Bhagavan, this Tulsidas ji is your great devotee. He sings your glories. He remembers you all the time. Please give him darshan, Bhagavan." A devotee, when he approaches the Lord, with humility, like a child approaching Bhagavan, he approaches his Lord. And Bhagavan, when he sees his devotee, Bhagavan's heart melts. And so his heart melts. But he says, "But Hanuman, Tulsidas is not ready to see me." But Hanumanji says, "Please, Bhagavan, for my sake you do." And Bhagavan says, Okay, for you I will do. But you are not allowed to tell him that it is me. But I will give him darshan. So Hanumanji was so excited. So he goes to Tulsidas and says, Bhagwan will come. You be alert. Because, he doesn't want him to miss. And Tulsidas ji one morning, part of his sadhana, was going around the temple, circulating the temple. And as he was coming around, as he turned his head and looked, there was two handsome young princes. One dark in complexion, one fair in complexion, riding horses, was coming on the side. And he glanced at it and said, wow, what handsome young men. Mesmerized for that moment, looking at them. And then he continued around his production. And the two went. Hanumanji comes and asks Tulsidas ji, did you see Bhagwan? And Tulsidas said, where? Did you not see those two young princes? That was Rama and Lakhan. Oh, but I did not see. Oh, Hanumanji, and Tulsidas ji wept. And a true devotee can never see another person cry. It is the compassion and love, because that is what a true devotee is. Cannot see anybody suffering, and especially one who wants Bhagwan. So therefore Hanumanji said, Tulsidas ji, it's okay. I will ask Bhagwan again. You will get to see him. Don't worry. Okay, you continue, but be alert next time. Okay, don't get distracted by anything else. Just keep your alertness. Hanumanji again went back to Bhagwan. Said, Bhagwan, please. Bhagwan said, but I told you he was not ready to see me. Bhagwan, please, one more chance. So Bhagwan said, okay, Hanuman. But you are not allowed to say anything. Don't go and tell this is Bhagwan. Bhagwan, please. Bhagwan said, okay, I'll go. So now Bhagwan, Tulsidas ji, it was, great saints have gathered in that Chitrakoot around the temple. And Tulsidas is sitting there and grinding chandan to give chandan to all the devotees who come there. Beautiful sandalwood chandan he was grinding. And at that time, our Bhagwan comes as Ram and Lakhan come as these tiny little boys, cute little boys. Probably 5-year-old boys, little chubby fellows. One was dark in color, and other one golden complexion. Both came in front and said, Baba, can we also have some chandan? And Tulsidas is looking at him so cutely. They're so cute. He's grinding the chandan. And then the dark one takes the chandan from there and puts it on himself. And he looks at Baba, and he puts it on. And he's putting it on and trying to make it round. And Tulsidas is looking at him, mesmerized by this whole thing. And our Hanumanji said, Are again he's going to miss out. So Hanumanji turns himself into this little parrot and sits, because he knows he's not allowed to tell directly. So sat on the tree nearby and he says, Chitrakoot ke ghat par bai santan ki beer Tulsidas chandan gisham tilak det raghubir. And he sings. And as he sings, on the banks of Mandakini river at Chitrakoot, there happens to be an assembly of saints who have come. And Goswami Tulsidas ji is rubbing chandan, sandalwood chandan, making paste for them. And there are two little boys. And one little boy is putting chandan on him. And who is that? Is none other than Raghuvir, Shri Ramachandra ki Jai. And he sings that parrot. And at that moment, Tulsidas ji comes out with mesmerizing and sees he's Bhagwan putting chandan in front. And that moment, his entire sorrows disappeared. Because who is that Lord? That Lord is none other than that infinite truth, that infinite Atma which is in us, which is that infinite Lord everywhere, that Satchidananda Brahman, that permanent, everlasting happiness. And that Bhagavan is putting Chandan, and his entire life becomes fulfilled. And an experience which is never experienced by him before. And there will be never another experience like this. And so Tulsidas ji's sorrow was removed by Bhagavan. But how did Bhagavan come into his life? Even though he chanted and sang the glories of the Lord, how did he finally get that Bhagavan? Only by the grace of Hanumanji, the great Bhakta. And who is the greatest Bhakta? He is none other than our Guru. Yesterday we all celebrated Guru Purnima. Who is that Hanuman? None other than our Guru. Our Puja Gurudev from the Himalayas came down knocking on all our doors to give us this knowledge, to give us Sri Ram. And those of us who live in Sydney, has not that Puja Gurudev given us our Sri Ram Parivar for us to worship? That Puja Gurudev is none other than Hanumanji, our Guru. So that Guru comes to us in that yearning desire to know the Lord. The Guru comes. Who is that Guru? He is the devotee of Bhagavan. It is said that that Guru is none other than Bhagavan himself. So that Guru comes to us to remove our sorrows. So therefore the sorrows of Tulsidas ji was removed completely by the help of Hanumanji, the Guru. So therefore, is not Tulsidas ji the best person to show us how to remove sorrows? Because he has gone through it. And so Tulsidas ji, using the examples of his own Guru Hanumanji in the Ramayana, comes to show us how to remove our sorrows. And so Hanumanji is come to known as Sankat Mochan. Sankat Mochan? Sankat means problems. Sankat, sorrow. Whenever we have problems, we have sorrow. And Mochan is one who frees us, liberates us from sorrow. So therefore, this Sankat Mochan, Bhagavan Hanumanji, comes to remove our sorrows. But all we have to do is to call out to him. Kone hi janat he jag mein kapi sankat mochan namati haro. The chorus verse of this Sankat Mochan is that, oh Hanumanji, where are you not? Come and remove my sorrows. Free me from my sorrows. Who else but you can remove my sorrows? So therefore, this Hanuman Ashtakam is called as Sankat Mochan. Now this Sankat Mochan, there are 8 verses. Our sorrows are there only because of this 8. What is this 8? In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna in chapter 7 talks about his higher nature and his lower nature. para prakriti and apara prakriti. And he says, my lower nature, which is called prakriti, is made up of the 8. The Panchabhutas, the 5 elements that makes up the material of this creation. The mind and intellect and ego. So 8. When these 8 are in combination, we have sorrow. So therefore, this 8 indicates Prakriti. And this Prakriti is constantly changing. There is nothing permanent about it. But you and I identify to Prakriti. What are we looking for? We are looking for something permanent. We are looking for permanent existence, permanent knowledge, permanent happiness. But this entire world is constantly, Prakriti constantly changing. Everything around us, including our body, mind, intellect, is constantly changing. Our desires, vasanas are constantly changing. But we are holding on to it, thinking that tomorrow will give me happiness. So therefore, we are constantly in the chase mode to look for happiness. I told you, we are all in the rat race. Not realizing that even if you're in the race, you are still going to be a rat only. Means you are bound, even if you run in this world and to do this, and achieve that, you're still going to end up being sorrowful. So therefore, in scriptures, in Hindu scriptures, we are given a secret. It is said that this 8 is the changing phenomena. But Bhagavan in Gita says, but there is an upper nature, higher nature, which is permanent. So therefore, in life, with that 8, in front of it bring 1. Which one? That infinite Lord, that infinite truth, which appears as Ishvara, the Lord of this creation. Bring that Lord in front of everything that we do, in everything that we experience. So the moment that 1 comes in front of the 8, what do we have now? 1 plus 8 becomes 9. 9 multiplied by any number or added to by any number, 9 times 2 will become 18. 9 times 3 will 27. 2 plus 7, 9. 1 plus 8, 9. Right? So any number multiplied by 9 will give you a number. Add those digits together, will give you 9. So therefore it becomes a perfect number. So whenever the Lord is remembered with the 8, with whatever we do in this world, only joy will be with us. Only happiness will be with us. Our problem is we are chasing the 8 without remembering the permanent Lord who is behind everything in this creation. With our eyes, we are looking at the temporary, thinking that this is what's going to make us happy. But we've forgotten that one which is permanent. Because all of these things will come and go. But that one will always be present. And that one is where that permanent happiness is. But how did that one appear to become this 8? Because if there is only that one truth, how can all of this be there? And therefore in our Hindu scriptures, we treasure that 108, 1008. Why that 108? That 0 is Maya, which cannot be explained by anybody. What is this Maya? But in the prism of the Maya, when seen through that Maya, we see this multifold, eightfold Prakriti, this changing phenomena. Just like white light shining through a prism becomes the rainbow colors. But it is nothing but the white light, which is the light out there. But it looks like the spectrum of the rainbow. All because of this prism. So, this Maya is the zero. So, in our sadhana, what do we have to do? We have to fold back the 8, get it to that zero, shunya, nothingness, and then come to discover that there's something that sees when there is nothing. Nothing means no thing. That which observes even nothing, no thing, that is which is permanent. And that permanent is your true self. So, how are we going to come to see that Lord in everything? Because this creation is nothing but the Lord in all forms. But yet you and I are seeing a world of sorrow. But yet we say that the Lord pervades everything. So how to see the Lord in everything and see that beauty of Bhagavan's creation, which only gives joy. But for me, the Bhagavan's creation is creating sorrow. So the secret is always bring that Lord first and then meet the world. And you may just come to see the beauty of Bhagavan. So now, the perfect teacher, who is none other than Hanumanji, in these 8 verses that are coming up, he will teach us. He will show us through the examples. Tulsidas has taken the examples of how Hanumanji has helped so many in the Ramayana to remove their sorrows and bring them back to Sri Ram. If you see Sundarakand, beautiful portion of the Ramayana, where Hanumanji relieves the sorrow of even Bhagavan Rama and Sita ji. Sundar he is. Will he not remove the sorrow of us who are asking him, calling out to him? So therefore we have to call out to him. So therefore Hanumanji, from tomorrow, each verse will show us a story of how Hanumanji has helped somebody to relieve their sorrows. But not only the story, but what is the symbolism and teaching for us so that we can relieve ourselves from the sorrows. So then Hanumanji becomes our Guru and the reliever of our sorrows. Sankata Mochana Namati Haro. Kone hi janat he jag mein kapi Sankata Mochana Namati Haro. So now let us chant the first verse of Sankat Mochan.
बाल समय रभी बख्शी लियो तब, बाल समय रभी बख्शी लियो तब, तीनहु लोक भयो अंधियारो, तीनहु लोक भयो अंधियारो, ताहि सो त्रास भयो जग को यह, ताहि सो त्रास भयो जग को यह, संकट काहू सो जात न टारो, संकट काहू सो जात न टारो, देवन आनी करे बिनती तब, देवन आनी करे बिनती तब, छाड़ी दियो रबी कष्ट निवारो, छाड़ी दियो रबी कष्ट कभी, कौन ही जानत है जग में कभी, संकट मोचन नाम तिहारो, संकट मोचन नाम तिहारो.
Oh Bhagwan, Hanumanji, please protect us. Please help me to remove this sorrow. So let us call out to Bhagwan with all our love and let us sing his bhajan and let us sing his Hanuman Chalisa. So all bring that form of Bhagwan Hanumanji. He is sitting behind me. You can see him. May he become our Guru. May we sing his glory and call out to him to remove all our sorrows.
जय श्री हनुमान, जय श्री हनुमान, जय श्री हनुमान. जय 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 बजरंग बली, जय 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 बजरंग बली. महावीर हनुमान गोसाई, महावीर हनुमान गोसाई, तुम्हारी याद भली. जय 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 बजरंग बली, जय 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 बजरंग बली. साधु संत के हनुमत प्यारे, भक्त हृदय श्री राम दुलारे. राम रसायन पास तुम्हारे, सदा रहो तुम राम दुआरे. तुम्हारी कृपा से हनुमत बीरा, तुम्हारी कृपा से हनुमत बीरा, सगरी विपत टली. जय 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 बजरंग बली, जय 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 बजरंग बली. तुम्हारी शरण महा सुखदाई, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई. तुम्हारी महिमा तुलसी गाई, जग जननी सीता महामाई. शिव शक्ति की तुम्हारे हृदय, शिव शक्ति की तुम्हारे हृदय, ज्योत महान जली. जय 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 बजरंग बली, जय 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 बजरंग बली. सिया राम चरणन मत वाले, भक्तन की तू बात न टाले. पाप अगिन से सबको बचा ले, घिर आए दुख बादल काले. बिन तेरे अब कौन बचावे, बिन तेरे अब कौन बचावे. ऐसी आंधी चली. जय 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 बजरंग बली, जय 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 बजरंग बली. महावीर हनुमान गोसाई, महावीर हनुमान गोसाई, तुम्हारी याद भली. जय 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 बजरंग बली, जय 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 बजरंग बली. जय जय श्री हनुमान, जय जय श्री हनुमान. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज, निज मन मुकुर सुधारी. वरनौ रघुवर बिमल जसु, जोदायक फलचारी. बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके, सुमिरो पवन कुमार. बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि, हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर। राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन वरण विराज सुबेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिवे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिवे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाँ ते, कवि कोविद कहि सकै तहाँ ते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीना, राम मिलाय राजपद दीना। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्त्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानु। प्रभु मुद्रिका मिली मुख माहि, जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज समारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चेत न धरई, हनुमत से ये सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलवीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सतवार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, हो ये सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। कीजय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र जी की जय।
पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।